you for joining us today. It is Jen with Aging Advantage. And Aging Advantage, we are a non for profit organization. We support seniors and disabled adults in the greater St. Louis area. So we do that with the help of local grants and donations. We like to offer different programs to help with the effects of post pandemic situations like housing issues or food insecurity, isolation issues, etc. So through the partnership that we have with our grants, we provide different educational topics that go, to support the people, our clients, sometimes like caregivers, just people in the community in general as well, to really help promote self care and like self resilience for people in the community, which is really cool. So today I have for you guys Chris Keidel, and he is with Next Level Senior Advisors. And I'm just excited for you to meet him. He is such an amazing man. And I'm sure you guys will be able to learn a lot of really great information. He is just an incredible resource in general. So if you don't know Chris, I absolutely recommend you reaching out and getting connected to him because he knows everyone, number one. But number two, yeah, he just has a huge heart and is always just so willing to help and willing to connect, people and families and organizations and stuff like that as well to other resources. So, anyways, I'm just excited for you guys to meet Chris and to be able to learn from him today. So, go for it, Chris.
Well, thank you very much, Jen. As Jen said, I'm Chris. I'm with Next Level Senior Advisors. With this role, I really help families in situations where it may be extremely difficult and stressful at the time. My role is to help find senior living options. That may be independent living, assisted living memory care, skilled nursing or long-term care, and really on my side of things, that's really about 80 or 90% of what I do, but I also really focus on the resource side more than anything. So I'll partner with people like Jen, also depending on the situation, get them in front of other resources as well. So my goal when I talk to families is really get to know the whole situation of what's going on. What's going on with mom? Has she fallen? Is she becoming uh, more reclusive and staying by herself? Um, Help families find the best living situations for them. So this is a program where there's no charge for my clients. I get kind of like a finder's fee for if they move into one of these communities. So there are a lot of challenges that can come across this, but my goal is to get you in the right place the first time, the right time. Um, there's a lot to take into consideration. Um, so there are, let's start with a little bit of what's the differences between independent living, assisted living, and memory care. So independent living, it's typically for seniors or it's more for active adults, people that are 55 and up. They really don't need much assistance. They're looking more for the social aspect and low maintenance living. Besides this, there's certain amenities that are provided, like meals, housekeeping, transportation, activities, maintenance, things along those lines. But it's not something where it's really no care that's needed. So you're not going to have to worry. You're going to be able to take care of the medication on your own. There's no nursing services, anything along those lines. It's more about just enjoying life with other people and having fun. This is where it gets a little bit more complex is assisted living. So you have assisted living level one, level two, and we even have the grandfathered level three assisted livings. So it's it's going to be important to get people into the right community when they have those needs. Um, so with assisted living level one, this is more in the situation where you're able, as they say, you're able to make pathway to safety. So if there was an emergency, something were to happen, you could leave on your own and get out to the front door. Level two and level three is typically where you have higher needs. So with assisted living, you'll have where they're assisting with medication reminders or giving you your medication. They may be helping you with bathing, dressing, grooming, getting you in and out of bed. It's for those that are needing just a little help with what's called ADLs. But not every community is equivalent. So with these communities, um, you have where you have different staffing ratios, different tenure. Also, there's a lot of different amenities. If you are a hardcore Catholic and you want your daily mass, if you're a fisherman and you absolutely love to fish, if you love walking places, have walking clubs. So those are amenities that make a big difference in finding the right place, but also it comes down to that level of care because you may say, oh, they have a fishing pond, but if you have a higher level of care and you're not able to make pathway safety, most likely you're going to have to move out right off the bat. This is why it's so important to work with families to make sure you know the ins and outs of their situations to find the right place. And I'm going to step back for a second because with my background, I have a very diverse background. I'm a respiratory therapist. Um, I've been a clinical manager of a DME for multiple years. I was a clinical specialist, educating doctors and respiratory therapists on ventilators. I've worked in hospice and senior living. And one thing that's been a reoccurrent theme is the healthcare system is very fragmented. And Jen can probably speak to this quite a bit, but there's so many different resources out there. There's so many different situations, and families are just completely lost. And I feel like since post-COVID, there's been a lot more. The patient care hasn't been there. The customer service hasn't been there as often. Um, and I've unfortunately seen a lot of situations where the patient or the client isn't put first. It's more about the bottom line or sales. And I've seen multiple situations where families have been lied to and taken advantage of. And this is a big reason of why I want to help guide the families where I can. Um, I've seen senior living communities where they can be very unethical, straight up lie, and we've even had certain situations within my family um, that's very, very heartbreaking. So this is why I do what I do. I absolutely love my job to make sure that people are able to go to the right place because if they go into the right place, they can have an amazing quality of life. So I know I'm kind of going all over the place, but I definitely wanted to kind of hit on that a little bit. So with assisted living, I mean, we did speak about some of the assistance that they offer. Um, a lot of seniors think of assisted living as skilled nursing in the 70s, and that's not the case. Um, a lot of people think of the white walls, the white coats, and very depressing situation. There are assisted living communities that are absolutely beautiful, and the residents are so happy. I've even gone on tours where for the stepdad where they say we've gone on the tour and they've loved it and they've just commented on how Stepdad, this is too nice for stepdad. Stepdad was mean to them as a kid, so he doesn't deserve a place quite this nice with where he can have his daily ravioli and Michelob Ultra. Um,
And play poker. Yes.
and play poker. Yes, yes.
Nice. Well,
So,
and nowadays too, good grief. Like some of these places also, heck, they have like ice cream social happy hour. They have alcohol happy hour like things and stuff. And I'm like, what in the world? Sometimes I'm like, okay, this is cute. How do we move it? I'm like, where do I sign up?
well,
They have shuffleboard. They have like it's so crazy. They have I was in one, Chris, the other day. I swear to you, during quote unquote happy hour time, right? They literally had a couple people's like a couple of the people who live there, their kids used to like did band stuff. So like one of their kids was a drummer, one of their kids was a singer, one of their kids was a music whatever, a they had a 4-person band set up,
oh yeah.
and they had like live music going on also. I was like, what in the world is what is happening? Like, yeah, to your point, it is not at all what it used
Oh,
to be. Some of these
some of these
places.
places are so amazing. Like you were saying, there's a lot of places have weekly happy hour, and I love when I walk in and I see happy hour and they're drinking and there's live music and people are dancing and just enjoying life. It's such a great situation. I've got a couple stories where. I had one situation where we moved in a family member, and the kids came to me and were genuinely upset at me. And it was because mom had missed their grandkids' soccer game, and she has not missed the grandkids' soccer game in 5+ years. But the reason why she wasn't there was because every Saturday morning they had their specific club.
Oh yeah.
And when the family came in afterwards and saw her like hanging out, laughing, having a drink, and having the time of her life, it was completely different. It 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 had they changed their mentality because it was all about the grandkid to holy crap, mom is having the time of her life.
Oh yeah.
So
Well, and they have like it's so cool. They have like coffee connection stuff too.
oh yes.
They have like all these like arts and crafts things now too, like quilting clubs, and I mean they have so much stuff. It is
Well,
wild. Like men that so for some of the guys, they have like little wood shop, little, wood whatever it's called, like where they you know what I mean? Like, whatever
yep.
it is, they have a piece of wood and then they like, whatever, do a little chisely stuff to it, and then it's a bear, or whatever that is. But but they have so much cool stuff now. I'm like, what? Wild. Yeah.
Well, in the good assisted living places, you're as independent as possible, and they'll change the different activities based off of what the residents like doing. So I do have my favorite places, but it's hard because I shouldn't say I had because I always get the question, Chris, what's your favorite assisted living place? And really, I can't answer that because there's not one perfect place. It's really depending on what's important to you. If you have a little bit higher levels of care and you need faster response times, I have places that will respond in less than 5 minutes for pennant pushes. And that's amazing. Most people in skilled nursing, when they're in there, they're waiting sometimes over an hour for a reply. There's certain places that the activities program. There's one place here locally in St. Louis where they make their own wine. They have a wine club. So I was there and they let me try some of their, I forget what it was. It was delicious. But I at that time I knew why everyone was so happy is because they were drinking wine at least once a week. There I have my places that I love for standalone memory cares.
Yeah.
There's And it can be hard because you have what's called CCRCs that have kind of your all-encompassing with independent, assisted, memory care, long term. But just because they have an amazing assisted living doesn't mean they have the best memory care. So, yeah, it's really important to look at because what we do is we look at geography, we look at price, but we look at levels of care and everything else of all the amenities and what's important to them. So, memory care, memory care is under the same level at, so you have assisted living and long-term care or skilled nursing. Memory care is under the same licensure, it's just under a different subset. So if it's assisted living memory care, it's still under the same licensure. But it's for people who have Alzheimer's, dementia, specific cognitive impairment. Unfortunately, we're seeing younger and younger individuals all the time that need to go into memory care. I think last time I checked, there's over 150 different types of dementia, and it just seems like that just keeps growing. So it in assisted living memory care, it's going to have a I don't want to say it's the same. You're going to have a lot of the same amenities, but memory care is a completely different feel. It is a secure environment because people get confused and may be exit seeking or wander. But with that cognitive impairment, a really good place will have good strong structure. They'll have specialized staff that know how to react with mom or dad. It's really training that's focused on dementia and their programming. So, and people don't know what they don't know. I had a resident move into memory care who could not remember that her husband had passed away, and the 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 mom and the daughter were like oil and water. The daughter had all the best intentions, but the mother kept asking about dad, and the daughter would say, "Dad's been dead for 10 years. Please stop asking. Dad's been dead." And the mother was reliving the death of her husband every single time. So those are the type of things that it's so important for proper training to make sure that um, they don't have to really relive those type of traumas. So um, then there's long-term care. This is what most people know as nursing homes. This is much more complicated. This is where you have complex medical needs. You may need IV therapy, dialysis, feeding tube, um, Hoyer lifts, sit to stands, um, excuse me, specific rehab services. Um, and the services that may be included is also like wound care. You really won't find ventilators, once again, respiratory therapists, but ventilators in the state of Missouri is not allowed. So a lot of people have to go, the closest places out to Iowa. So we do help with finding long-term care. We talked about independent living, assisted living, a little bit on long-term care, but let's talk about more of when it might be time to consider a move. Um, Independent living, honestly, that is just where you're independent and you just want some social engagement. You want to do that happy hour. You want to do outings to the butterfly house and everything along those lines. Now, when it comes, something else I always say is since people are so scared of going into assisted living because they think of skilled nursing in the 70s and 80s, proper education of what assisted living is very important because what happens is people are so resistant where it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. So it's okay, well, I will never go into an assisted living. I will never do it. They have a hospitalization, they decline. They could have the choice of going to wherever they want and have the proper planning, but they're so resistant. And then the next thing you know, their needs are so high where now they need skilled nursing and they may not. They're in crisis mode and they're not able to pick the place of their choosing. It's just who has a bed available. And that can be very disheartening. If you move into a community at the right time, you can stay there until you pass and have the time of your life. So let's go back to times when to start considering a move. So the easiest is when you're seeing physical changes and just general health decline. It's just obviously, when everyday functioning becomes harder and it's less safe. If mom or dad is starting to see multiple falls, if their gait is off and they're just a little bit more unsteady, if they become more reliant on their cane or walker, a good one, one that you'll see over a greater period of time is weight loss. They're not eating appropriately. Obviously, if hygiene is becoming more difficult, where they're having a harder time bathing and grooming, that is usually a very clear indicator that some help is needed. Now, we'll get into kind of the pricing later on, because it does just because they're having issues on this doesn't mean that you have to move into a community. There are other resources involved where they can stay in the home, but we'll get into that here later. Um, but also, if they're one of the most obvious is when people are having repeated hospitalizations or ER visits. That's typically a clear indicator. Just a little oversight would be a huge benefit. Because with a good assisted living, they'll learn the ins and outs and they'll know who that individual is. So if something's off, they'll be able to see that and say, hey, mom has a history of UTIs. She's off a little bit. This is going on. Let's reach out to the house doctor for a urinalysis and let's get antibiotics on board before it becomes a UTI. So it's those proactive measures that also will help people age in place in communities. Um, another thing to look out for when it might be time to consider a move is when you're seeing cognitive changes, memory changes. If you're seeing increased confusion, forgetfulness, if they're not paying their bills, that's usually a very good indicator that there's some type of cognitive impairment that's going on. If they're missing their medications, or if they're taking too much of their medications, which we see fairly often, and now they're in the hospital. They're asking repeated questions, they're getting lost. Those are usually some pretty clear indicators that memory care is potentially needed. So another one is the home environment. So if the house is becoming cluttered, if there's rotten food in the refrigerator, once again, if they're losing weight because they're not able to go out and get food and cook food like they typically have, but maybe mom or dad used to be a big cooker, but now they're relying on frozen meals more, or ordering a ton of DoorDash. Another one, I have a family that I'm working with right now where they came to check up on mom, and when they opened the door, the house was filled with gas. She went to go cook something and left the gas on, and they are actually very blessed that the house didn't blow up. Because so family stayed there, made sure that the windows were wide open, the doors were open, and not to turn on any not light a match, nothing along those lines. So With assisted living, a lot of it, we talked about activities of daily living. That's bathing, dressing, getting in and out of bed, toileting. All those things are pretty self-evident if they're not taking care of themselves, if they're having issues, if they have poor hygiene, overgrown nails, they're wearing the same clothes because they can't do their own laundry. Those are usually a very clear indicator that assisted living is necessary. Um, a big one is driving and transportation, where they're getting lost. One of the same families I was talking about earlier, she turned left down the wrong way of a one-way street. So thank the Lord she's fine. But those kind of near misses are one of those things where, yeah, it's usually pretty apparent it's getting closer to that time. Um, and then the social and lifestyle changes. So once again, when you're in a good community, people are very active, people are getting around. Um, but if your parents or grandparents are very social and they're becoming a hermit, that's usually a big sign. Now, let's say mom or dad is an introvert, and that's fine. Just because you're in one of these beautiful communities where they have very strong activities programs doesn't mean they have to go to everything. If they want to just stay in their apartment and that's what they want, great. But then if live entertainment and happy hours on that day and that's their reason for coming out, fantastic. But at least they still have that oversight as well. So the other thing is family and caregiver burnout. So, I mean, we've talked about a lot of different indicators of when a community might be appropriate. Um, so also earlier I said I worked in hospice. One thing you see in hospice is when you have someone with very high needs, and then you have someone that has lower needs that's taking care of the high need individual. There's a lot of studies showing that higher functioning individual will decline more rapidly and in a lot of ways pass away prior to the high needs individual. So the emotional and physical toll it takes on families is just ridiculous. It's very easy to get burnout. So this is where we can look at um, different resources to make sure, like if memory care is potentially needed. And one of my favorite resources is Memory Care Home Solutions. It's a nonprofit based out of St. Louis, and they have staff that comes out and do assessments. They'll help to make sure that you have everything in the home to make sure that it's safe. Um, so yeah, that's just another one of my resources that I absolutely love for my families. But um, when you have, let's go back to the caregiver burnout. When you have someone that's higher functioning and lower functioning, it is n not uncommon where you can go both move into a community and that higher functioning person just both the individuals doing really, really well because all the needs are being met. So it's just hard when you feel like you're on call 24/7 and you can never get a break and you're balancing care with work or the grandkids or whatever may happen. So um I think I'm going to finish up with for this short thing on some common misconceptions. Um, So kind of what we talked about before, assisted living is a nursing home, and obviously there are ones that are more, um, what's the term I want to use? More, I don't know, institutional. And then you have ones that are more updated. And this is where it's really dependent on what's more important to you, because I've had people where it's not the most beautiful and updated, but the care is amazing, or their programming and memory care is fantastic. So once again, if you don't wait, if you go at the right time, you're going to be able to choose the right community and prevent you from going into that nursing home feel. Another misconception is mom will tell us when she needs help. Um, if with my parents and that age group, they are very proud. I cannot tell you how many times where I called my parents and asking how everything is going, and they're like, "Oh, we just got back from the hospital. Your mom had TIAs." And that is something that, unfortunately, at that age group, they are very proud and they hate to ask for help. So sometimes it's just very, very, very difficult because people are just so proud. One of my favorite misconceptions is senior living means that you're losing independence. Living means that you're losing independence. And that's not the case. With the right community and the right support, people actually gain independence because now you're not having to worry about doing the lawn. You're not having to worry about taking care of your spouse. Now it's you're not having to worry about the falls because now they got PT and OT involved on site that's going to help you to get stronger. So, in most situations, people actually gain independence when they receive the right amount of support in the community. Um, Another misconception is it's cheaper to stay home. Um, there are a lot of resources out there to stay in the home, and I share those with my clients all the time. But there is it's very easy to do a break-even analysis to know when it's cheaper to go elsewhere. Because private duty, no matter how amazing some of these companies are, they get they're very expensive. I think on average, you're looking at about 35 to $40 an hour. So if it's 4 hours a day, fine. 8 hours a day, that's typically where you're starting to look and say, is it cheaper to stay home or is it cheaper to go into a community? Um, and then probably the one that probably upsets me more than anything is all communities are basically the same. Um, And that is definitely not the case. In the greater St. Louis area on the Missouri side, last time I checked, I think there's between residential care facilities, independent, assisted, skilled memory cares, I think there was 257 communities in total. They all have completely different staffing, what's allowed. So once again, finding the right community is very, very important, and using a senior advisor like myself to actually help guide based off of what's important to you is going to be very important because right now, um, people they have quotas to meet, they have a census to build. Um, and we just need to make sure that out of all the 257, based off of price, geography, what's important, religion, fishing, whatever it may be, take those 257, get it down to the best two or three options, go on tours with you, and help guide to know what questions to ask and find the right place. So, all right, Jen, I think that's
That was amazing. Yeah. And that was so much incredible information to unpack.